Alright everybody, so I'm gonna show you how to make a needle felted mushroom today. I've got my wool. I fluffed it a little. You pull it apart to make the strands shorter because they're easier to felt that way. Then I rolled it in my hands to compact it some and get the initial stem shape going. Then you just start poking it with your needle and turning it and lifting it off of your pad so it doesn't stick. You can keep turning it, that'll help round it out. And you'll just keep poking till it firms up. You'll want to pick it up every once in a while and give it a squeeze, see how firm it is and how much more you need to felt it. Now you want to leave a little bit of the fluff at the very tip of where your stem is going to connect to your cap. That'll make it so you'll have loose fibers so you can get them to attach to the cap. If you don't do that, then it's going to be a lot harder to get your cap to stick to your stem when you go to put it on later. This is a process. It seems quick in the video because it's fast forwarded, but you're going to do a lot of poking. Try not to poke your fingers. Best advice for that is to always poke away from yourself if you can help it. Right now, I'm just starting the second stem for my second mushroom. It's going to be a little bit bigger than the first one. So I used a little bit more wool than the last stem. You want to make sure you go in and stab the bottom up towards the stem top so that you can get a nice flat base on your stem. If you're going to be like doing anything else with it, like gluing it to something, you want it to be kind of flat. So you just keep spinning and poking and lifting until you start to feel more tension, like the needle won't go through the wool as easily. Then you'll know that you're starting to get a lot firmer. Now you can keep felting this and stabbing it until it's super duper firm, but you'll probably have to go down a size in needles. With this project, I'm using a star like 38 when I start, and then I move to a 40 to just kind of do more of the finishing and compact it a little bit more. Now I have my pink for my caps, and like I said, you're gonna pull it apart in between your hands. You'll hold it in between your thumbs and just kind of keep pulling it apart to make those fibers shorter because they felt easier when they're shorter. Then you just kind of roll it into like a dome kind of shape. Dome circle, you'll want to keep it a little fatter in the middle at first. I'm putting my finger guards on because it's a good chance that I'm gonna stab myself right here. And I don't want to do that, so it's good to have some leather finger protectors. I'm kind of pinching the cap in between my fingers to bring like a little bit of an edge to it. You'll squeeze it and tuck it, and then I lay it down and I try to felt the middle of it a little bit more, just so it's not super soft at the cap top. And I squeeze it again, and I'm kind of tucking these fibers under with my needle as I'm stabbing it. When you're doing more of like this type of technique, you want to keep your needle at more of like a 45-degree angle. So you're not stabbing it straight at a 90. You're keeping it more of like a 45. This will kind of pull your fibers in so you don't have as many like little loose pieces around. Stabbing straight down compacts the wool a little bit more, so it'll get a little harder. You want to felt the inside of your cap, but don't felt it like 100%. You want it to still be a little loose, so your stem fibers that you left loose will adhere to your cap better like that. Right here, I'm just going around and trying to firm up my edges some. So I'm not stabbing all the way in. I'm only stabbing maybe like a fourth of an inch or so in and at a 45-degree angle to kind of pull those fibers in more. You don't want to try to push all the way through the top of the mushroom cap because then you're pushing the fibers out and it'll get fuzzy looking. But if you do get some of that, you can just go back around and push it all back down through the bottom. When you come in around the edges like that, you can scoop up the little fibers that are kind of sticking out at the bottom and push them in so that you don't see them as much. Right there, I was just checking the size of my cap to see if it was going to work for my stem, make sure the sizing's looking right and the proportions. At this point, I'm stabbing more to the top, and while I'm doing that, I'm pushing my thumb in to kind of curve the wool around my thumb a bit more to give it more of that domed cap shape. Then I just go back around and I'm pushing in the fibers again to clean it up. The wool I'm using for the cap is a roving. It's just a pink roving. I ordered it like in a kit off Amazon. The white wool that I used is batting, and I got that from Living Felt. It's a really great online distributor that sells really high quality wool. Now I'm just gonna add some spots to my mushroom cap. I just pull some of the wool off and roll it in my fingers to kind of ball it up some. That way it's not as fluffy and I kind of get the shape. For this mushroom, since Valentine's Day is coming up, I'm gonna put the little dots on to look like hearts, or try my best to. You guys don't have to do that. You could just put little dots on. They don't even have to be perfect circles. You know, mushroom spots aren't always a perfect circle anyway. So you just pick it up with your needle and push it in lightly. You don't want to push too hard because then your whole dot's just going to get felted into the inside of your mushroom cap. But just kind of lightly, like you see in the video, poke it and move it around some. You can make it more of a heart shape if you go to the top of the circle and just kind of pull downwards towards yourself to give it that little V. So now I'm gonna attach my stem to the cap of the mushroom. You'll just kind of roll the fiber up just a little bit so it's all kind of in the one spot. And you just start attaching it to your stem. Now you don't want to push like all the way through to the top of the cap because then you'll have fibers showing through. If you do get some, that's okay though. You can always flip it over and push them back in like I'm doing right here. So you just keep poking it. That'll also attach it more from the bottom. So here I'm just making my second mushrooms. So I've got my 6 needle handle. I'm only going to use this for a little bit just to get a jump start on compacting that wool some. I won't need it for the rest of it. It'll actually probably be easier to do it with just one needle because it's such a small work area. But you just go around, kind of roll it so you can get that dome shape in your cap. And then you'll want to just Bring those edges in and round them out some. You'll put your thumb guard on because you're going to be shaping the cap around your finger to make that cone shape. Once you have your initial shape down, you can put it on the mat and just roll it, but make sure you keep picking it up and moving it off the mat so you don't felt it to your felting mat. So while you're doing this, you're constantly squeezing it to see how hard it's felted. And any spot that feels really soft still, you're just going to go back to and felt over again, like I'm doing here in the same spot until it firms up some. Just keep turning and rolling and turning. It's a lot like sculpting with wool. And here's a little bit more of me making the dots for the second mushroom. This time I decided to add the stem before I put the dots on. You can do this either way, it doesn't matter. I did this to show you that it works either way. And you just keep pushing the white wool into your pink wool and turning your mushroom. You want to pick it up, give it a little pull, see how well it's on there if you need to keep felting. And you'll just keep adding white dots until you're happy with the amount of spots on your mushroom. And once that's done, you've completed your felted mushrooms. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned some stuff from it. Leave any comments if you would like me to go into any more detail on types of wool or gauges of needles, really anything like that. And I'll try to make a video going into more detail about that. All right. Make sure to like and subscribe.